On monitor choices along with keyboard and mice choices. Today I'm going to be focusing on your monitor selections. This is going to be somewhat difficult to do with these hooked up. I would have loved to unhook them, but I have so much stuff hooked up to these, and they're relatively larger displays and heavier displays that I'm going to just do this like this. Bear with me, but all the information should be broadcast pretty well. There's a few things to look for when you're actually purchasing a monitor. For one thing, that first thing I tell anybody is that a monitor is something you keep for at least 2 to 5 years. It's not something that generally goes out of style, or the technology doesn't increase as much as, let's say, a graphics card, which every year or 6 months a new graphics card seems to come out and get boosted. A monitor is something that you can have for even 5+ years. I've had one of these for 2+ years, and I've had one of them for 1 year. A monitor is something that you purchase to last for a long. It's similar to a power supply. You keep it for 5 years. You keep it for a decent amount of time. Now, the first obvious selection here is size. Before it was, 15 inches was the end thing, and then 19 inches. Things have adapted. Everything's larger now. What I would consider as a small display is 19 to 20 inches. That's kind of on the small end, especially how cheap monitors are these days. Medium, I would go to 23 to 24 inches, and then large is 27 to 30 inches. And anything above that, you're getting really into TV range, and the 27 to 30, I have a 27, and I don't ever plan on getting anything any larger at this time. That's just something to think of size. Generally, for if you're just doing some regular, it's just a regular home PC, you're not doing any type of work productivity things on it, you're just maybe viewing some movies, just get a nice 23, 24-inch monitor. You don't need a huge monitor unless you can get one on a good deal, because once you start getting to the 27, 30-inch monitors, we are going to talk about resolution down here at some point. You have to pay attention to the resolution a little bit, because if you get a 30-inch monitor that's got 1920p or 1920 by 1080 resolution, it's not going to look as sharp as crisp if you got a higher resolution monitor. So if you're looking for just a general purpose, I would stick with that 23, 24-inch display. I ran a 24-inch display for years before I actually upgraded to a larger one. And now let's talk about the different types of technology. If you're going 3D, you have to get a TM panel. The TM is the only way that they can reproduce 3D right now. Personally, I am an anti-3D person. It gives me headaches just watching 3D, so that might be something to take in there. And mainly, I go for an accurate color reproduction. TM panels have a fast refresh rate, and they're usually cheaper. They're extremely cheap. The technology's been around forever, but their color reproduction is horrible. I wouldn't personally recommend a TM panel to anybody. I wouldn't recommend a 3D panel for anyone. I've played around with my old roommate, had an Alienware 3D panel, and it was horrible. And Alienware makes pretty good displays. It was just a horrible panel. Compared to some of the other panels out there, I don't know. It's just not, I wouldn't recommend a TN panel to anybody. So a few technologies I would actually recommend when actually looking to purchase your monitor is IPS or PLS displays. These IPS or PLS technologies allow for a lot better color reproduction and accuracy within the colors. It gets closer to what the actual color is, and the viewing angle on these monitors is excellent, which I will do a display here once I get done. Speaking of a few things here, I'm going to go over just some of the specs and just things to look forward to, and then I'm going to jump in and show you my displays and why I chose them. But IPS displays, especially in the 23, 24-inch range, have really dropped down in price. You can get a nice display for under $300, even for an IPS if you really shop around. So that's the way I would go. Honestly, I like IPS a little better. I won't own anything but an IPS display at this point. OLED displays are just now coming out in TVs, and when they come out in monitors, I will look to that. But that's a pretty expensive new technology right now, and they don't currently even make OLED panels. So that's something to look for with the technology-wise. Look for IPS. PLS is another one. Samsung uses a decent amount of PLS displays, and they make some good high-resolution PLS displays. So now let's actually jump into the resolution of the monitor. The majority of monitors out there, probably 90+%, or 1920 by 1080 or 1080p resolution. This is great for 23, 24-inch displays. It reproduces the image. It's crisp, it's clear, it looks how it should actually look. If you get it, I've actually seen a few 27-inch displays that got 1920 by 1080 resolution, and to me it just looks, things look a little too large. It's not as crisp, it's not as sharp. If you're getting anything, let's say that 19 and 24-inch, look for that 1920 by 1080. There is some monitors that are 1920 by 1200, which stretches the resolution out a little bit. Like this display right here, which is 1920 by 1200. It's an older Dell monitor, an IPS display. That resolution's slowly dying, but if you can find even an older model like that that's new, don't be hesitant to bump that up and get one. You can scale the resolution back. The one thing is you can't push the resolution forward, but you can always scale it back. Let's say you have a high resolution 2560 by 1600 display, and your graphics card just won't play the game at it. You can scale that resolution back to 1920 by 1080, no problem, but you can't push the resolution any larger. That's something to look for there. Like, remember, you're keeping this monitor for at least 5 years probably. So for the resolution, again, 19 to 24 inch, I would go with the 1920 by 1080. Anything above that, 27 to 30 inch, I would go with 2560 by 1440, or I believe they have 2560 by 1600. I'm not 1000% positive. Mine's 2560 by 1440. Believe the majority of them are 2560 by 1440, but that's a higher resolution monitor. You're really going to be able to tell once we get in here and do a little bit of, you might not be able to tell in the video, but you could tell a huge difference in the color and just the crispness of things, the text. Things are smaller, but you can always increase that resolution if you have to. But playing games, it's awesome. You get nice detail. It's really the way to go if you're going for a 27, 30-inch monitor. And again, I got, sorry, looking at my notes here, just for the long haul, you're purchasing this for, a long, I mean, people keep monitors for 5 or 10 years, so really look into that. Invest in your monitor. This is something you're staring at all the time. You don't want to get a cheap monitor that you have to stare at a decent amount of time and something you're not going to be happy with. So now let's turn these on and get some visuals here. And then I'll just go over a few things to look for when you're actually purchasing the monitor, and we'll try to zoom in here a little. 2 IPS display monitors, and I've personally owned them for a decent amount of time. Been able to play around with them, and as you'll notice, the first thing about the displays is that there's bezels on the side. Many of these bezels are actually glossy. I would strongly discourage anyone from getting a glossy bezel. These are actually matte bezels, which is nice, and I would also go with a matte screen. You can get a glossy screen, or you can get a matte screen. As you can see here, I actually have a light over here, so the reflections might be a little bit worse, but on a glossy display, you're going to get a ton of reflections. And as you can see, the colors really don't fade out. Actually, let's go into the larger one. You're going to see that the colors aren't really going to fade out as we pivot this monitor. There is some glare. Like I said, I have a light back there, but you can see it still reproduces colors extremely well at a tilted angle like this. I mean, that's one good thing about the IPS displays. And why we're going into that, like I said, I would go with a matte bezel and also a matte back display. But a few other things is actually look at the performance and the function of the monitor. And that is does it pivot like this? And does it tilt? Well, this one can tilt up like that, and it can also tilt down. Oh, this one doesn't tilt down that far. And another thing, we'll actually swing over here to this monitor. And let's see if I can do this, is that this one actually goes into portrait mode, where you can tilt it like this, and use it in portrait mode, just like that. That's another thing to look at. These are both Dell monitors. So to wrap up on the visuals and just the actual look of the monitors, I would recommend a matte finish to anybody. I would not recommend any type of glossy, even at the bezel. I'd recommend a matte bezel and a matte display. Glossy has too many reflections. Honestly, I don't like looking at myself when I'm working. I've had a glossy laptop before, and literally as I was typing and working, I could see the reflection of myself in the screen. That gets old after a while, and it hurts, strains your eyes. I would recommend to get a matte finish, also with the matte bezel, so you don't have to worry about reflections. That's just something I personally enjoy, but many other people do. I'm telling you, that's the way to go. I would pay more to get a matte finish with a matte bezel than I would to get any type of glossy. Glossy is usually cheaper, and I don't understand why it's so mainstream. Maybe because it looks better in the store, but it's not gonna suit you for the future. And a few other things to look at is, does the monitor tilt? Does it pivot? Can it go into portrait mode, landscape mode? That's something, if you don't need that stuff, then don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. But I would get one that has a strong base. Since it is going to be something that you're going to have a while, get something that has some higher quality, some higher build quality. Check out some reviews on it. You know, there's plenty of reviews out there. The review site, just type in the model number and put review behind it, and you're going to get a million things to come up and read. And just get something that's got some decent build quality, and then also connectivity. I know we haven't mentioned that yet, but get something that's got the connectivity that you need. Do you need HDMI, DisplayPort, DVI? This, for example, I think it's got 4 USBs. Do you need USB connectivity? Do you want a webcam on top? Some of them have webcams on top. You know, if you're doing some broadcasting or any type of a live stream, that you might want a webcam to hook on top. You can purchase one separately, but some people like that built into the monitor so they don't have as much clutter around. Do you want a webcam? Just look at that stuff when you're looking at the monitor. Make sure to read the reviews. Whatever website you're on, make sure to take that model and put it into a Google search and go to the actual manufacturer's website and see what they have to say, because usually they'll detail things a little bit better than, let's say, Newegg or Amazon. Especially Amazon's really, they don't display a lot of information, so just make sure you know what you're actually getting into. And at the store, you know, just ask questions. If they don't have the answers for them, go to the website of wherever you're going to buy this at, and just make sure you know what you're getting, because a monitor is something that you're going to have for a long time. So now for the actual personal monitors I choose, I'm actually running 2 Dell UltraSharp monitors. This one here is the 27-inch, and it is the 2560 by 1440 display, and it is, sorry, I got the model number, U2711. I believe they have a newer model out now. But I would highly recommend this monitor to anybody, especially if you're looking for a large. It is an expensive monitor. It was on sale during Black Friday, I believe, for $600-700, and that's a very good deal for this type of monitor. They have Dell's UltraSharp. I know they might not get a lot of credit, but their UltraSharp monitor, especially with Premier Color, they have excellent color reproduction. The build quality is top notch. I mean, both these monitors are built like tanks. I mean, they really are. The displays are heavy. They have tons of connectivity, more connectivity than I've seen in anything. They tilt and pivot, where a lot of monitors in that price category don't. The second monitor I'm running is a U2410. It's actually an older display, and it's running 1920 by 1200 resolution, which is a little higher resolution than the 1080p. I'd recommend that monitor to anybody also. I haven't had any problems with them. They come with 3-year warranties. I would highly recommend them. Samsung and LG make some nice IPS displays also. If you check out some of their TVs, you notice that they have really great displays on their TVs, and I think they adapt. They're just great at reproducing good displays. You know, monitors, TVs. It seems like LG and Samsung always know what to reproduce there. Asus has some great displays. They've come out with a lot of budget IPS displays, high resolution IPS displays that are in PLS displays that are getting good reviews. Just recent reviews out there. You know, go to CNET, go to Anantech. I mean, there's tons of places to go reviews at. Let's actually just pull a few things up. There's the monitors there on the website. Go to Anantech, read some reviews from there. CNET, I mean, there's tons of places to go. Engadget, just go to anywhere and just read some reviews on them and see what other people are actually think of the monitors. Go to YouTube, type in the model number that you're looking for, and just watch some reviews, see if it's something you like. Personally, these are the monitors I would choose. 23 to 24 inch is what most people will be okay with. Get an IPS display. Get something that's got good build quality. It's got a decent amount of connectivity. If you're not ever planning on upgrading to more than one display, then connectivity is not going to be an issue. Most all monitors come probably with HDMI and either DisplayPort or DVI, which is all you need. Every graphics card out there has one of those connected into it. Hopefully this is useful to some people. Sorry it's a little scattered, a little unorganized, but at some point I do plan on getting a little bit. And granted, these are regular prices. You can get these cheaper, but this monitor is running a little under $500. But I've seen it go as low as $299, $350 for the 24-inch. And the large one is, it's about $1,000. But like I said, you can get these monitors much cheaper than that, especially if you shop around. If you're not afraid of getting a refurbished unit, you can go to their outlet and get one. Check out some of Samsung's, LG's, Asus. Check out some of Asus's more budget-oriented. They even got great build quality. That I've been reading. Just check out that. Check out some reviews. I know I've said that a million times, but I try to tell people as much. People ask me questions, and before they even search something, check out the reviews. Put it in a Google search, and you'll get a ton of information on it. See what you think, and then ask questions from that you might have. Hopefully this was helpful. If you guys have any questions, comments, any concerns, don't hesitate to email me. I'll put my email down below. You can comment on the Facebook page if you'd like. I reply to all that stuff. I read it all. If you'd like to see any more unboxings, reviews, broadcasts, any other guides like this, again, don't forget to subscribe, give me a thumbs up, and I will see you guys all with keyboards is actually what I'm going to be going over next.